Hello, I'm Dawn Bensky, the Pre-K through 12 Visual and Media Arts Content Specialist for Boston Public Schools Visual and Performing Arts Department. Today, I'd like to introduce you to Canva. So what is Canva? Canva is a free platform that is user-friendly for students of all ages in the Boston Public Schools. Canva is beneficial because it allows students to learn the basics of graphic design in their art classes without being bogged down with learning cumbersome photo editing programs. Canva is great for beginning level students. This is a tool for teachers and administrators as well, such as for designing event flyers or even newsletters. The designs can be created from scratch or by adopting or adapting Canva templates. Let's take a look at it in action. So the first thing you'll notice when signing into your Canva account is that there are a multitude of templates available to you. So if you want to create a Twitter graphic event flyer, infographic, YouTube thumbnail, or any other kind of graphic, Canva will automatically select the correct size and dimensions so you can get started creating. For this simple demonstration, I'm going to start with a basic poster template. Now you'll see on the left, there are a bunch of tools for me to use. Some are pre-formatted templates, which are great if you are in a rush and you don't want to take the time to design from scratch. But I do think there's tremendous value in designing from scratch, and certainly for students to learn design concepts by designing themselves from scratch. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to begin with the background color. So on my tools on my left, I click on the background icon, and what you'll find are multitudes of beautiful background options, including public domain photographs, captivating colors, and patterns. I'm going to actually put in my own choice of color. So I'm clicking on this color icon at the top, and I'm putting in a specific color that I want, and that will be for the BPS blue, as we call it. When you're branding, there is a particular code for every single hue that identifies that hue, and BPS blue is 0066cc. And so now the background of my poster will be BPS blue. From here, I can return to the icons on the left and choose elements I want to add to my design. Such options such as photographs, different grids of photos you can put in place, shapes, charts, lines, frames, illustrations, icons, etc. But I want to incorporate a shape into my design. So when I examine the shapes, there's so many options I can scroll through that are free to me for use, but I know what I'm looking for. See, I am looking for a stamp design for this particular poster. So I'm actually typing into the search bar stamp shape, and we'll see what occurs. Ah, perfect. I see one I love. Once I click that shape, it is inserted into the document, and you'll notice that right now the original shape is in a bright red color. Well, that's not going to work for my design, so it's very simple to change color. If I scroll up to the color icon and click on that, I can turn this shape pretty much any color I want, and I chose white for this particular design. From there, I can adjust size, smaller or larger in scale. I can change it and move it around to find the best composition. And I can even create multiple shapes by copying it. And then I can overlap shapes with transparencies. So you can see now that that second stamp shape is taken down to a 50% transparency, and much of that BPS blue is showing through the shape. Okay, and now you can see that I've taken some time to arrange some shapes that I find interesting for my design. And what you'll find is the more time you spend using Canva, really the more involved you get with these design elements, because they are really quite fun, and they're fun for students and adults. So for this particular design, I do want to show who is hosting the event. And so I'm inserting the BPS Arts Department logo, and I think it's just best for it to go at the top of this poster like that. And to see a little bit closer, you can see that it just gives our website information and the Boston Public Schools logo and our department logo. So the neat thing here, as you can see, is that you can upload any of your own images, or students can upload their own work. And you can imagine how it's useful for creating different assignments in many different subject areas, therefore. Okay, another great option on the left is to incorporate text. So when I've clicked into the text icon, you can see that I have the option for a heading, a subheading, body text, as well as a variety of free templates with font styles that are already pre-designed to go together. But of course, I find it to be much more valuable to design my own. And since I'm working with a stamp motif during this design, why not look for a stencil style font? So I need to add a heading. Right now, it shows up as a text placeholder, but I don't need to write anything yet. I just need to figure out my font. If I go up to the drop-down list of fonts, I can either scroll through the quite extensive font list and see all the different options because they are written in their styles. But I know already that I'm looking for a stencil font. So I'm going to type in the search box, stencil, and see what happens. Oh, I have two different stencil options here. So what I can do is choose the one I like best. And now you see that my text placeholder uses that font. So now that I've chosen my stencil style font, I can actually change this text placeholder into the wording I want. And that is civic engagement in the arts, which is the title of the event. It's a workshop around civic engagement in the arts. And of course, I can move this text box around. So I like it here because on that nice white shape, just from a design perspective, is much more engaging. But right now the font is colored in plain old black, so I think I might want to change the color. And I go up to my text color box, and I could change it to BPS blue again, which looks pretty neat, except that some of the textured effects from the stamp interfere with that. So here's a fancy thing you can do. You can actually go into your document colors, click the plus sign, and you see that it pulls up my BPS blue. What I think I should do is make that particular color slightly darker, just so it will pop forward a little bit in the design. And so I scroll it down towards the darker values. And now my civic engagement in the arts text is much clearer against the BPS blue background. Now that I have my font style, size, and placement set, I think I want to rotate its position a little bit, just to add a little flirt to this design. Oh, that's quite nice. So now I have put in all the text that I want to include about my event. I've given teacher workshop information, dates and locations, and was able to also play with the font color. So not only do I have the blue for the civic engagement in the arts title, I was able to use white, and I brought a pop of color into it with some lime green, inspired by the wall behind me. Now I'm going to change to adding some imagery because I really want to personalize this for Boston. So I want to put in a picture of Boston. To do that, I can find an image of public domain from the internet. Any image used from the internet should be checked for copyright permissions. Some images are free to use, others require attribution, and others have further restrictions. So you always want to ensure you are following copyright permissions. Go to Creative Commons where you can find out more information. In the case of this design, I already found a really great image of the Boston skyline that is free for public use. So I've inserted it by clicking on the image. My image is blocking the whole design, so that just means I have to move its position behind the design elements. By clicking on the box title position, I can send this image as far back as I want. There. Additionally, I can resize it, which I want to make it the size of the flyer, so I'm enlarging it by dragging the box. And its placement is really distracting, I would say, for the rest of the design. So I'm going to make it a bit more transparent. And I noticed that most of the city is covered by the design, so I can actually just scroll it around until I find a placement I like. There. Finally, I can add a little balancing element down here. I really want a light bulb just to showcase the fact that this is a session for working. And so I'm going back to the elements on the left, and I can just find icons. Oops, I see a light bulb already. When I insert my light bulb, I can size it as small as I want, and I'm putting it in the corner. Its color is just a little too bright for me, so I'm adjusting it. It's still too bright, so I'm adjusting it some more, and I'm just pulling it down so it pops back. Of course, in a beautiful orange that is a complementary color to blue. Here completes my design for our event. The really neat thing about Canva is that it can be shared with other team members or groups. Just by clicking on the share button at the top, I can type in an email and share it with my colleague here in the Boston Public Schools Arts Department. Now that you've created your beautiful design, what do you do with it? Well, it's very easy to download it. Clicking on the button, I can download this file type as a PNG, JPEG, or a PDF. And of course, from there, I can print it. The amazing thing about Canva is that it's really limitless what students can design with it. For instance, in a UDL approach to your lesson, you can have students create an infographic. And here's a template for that. And there's a bunch of different templates students can choose from to showcase their learning in your classroom. I recommend that you have students customize these as much as possible to really showcase their learning and have some ownership over their creation. Canva can be used across all subject matters. So for instance, you can have students show data visibly in bar graphs from their math homework. Canva is a great tool for a subject such as reading and literacy, where students are creating book reports. In Canva, they can create an accompanying illustration or possible book cover to help showcase their learning through your lessons. One more tidbit. You can put live links in your presentation so that when you save it as a PDF, people simply need to click on the link to obtain other resources. So one such example that the Visual and Performing Arts Department has completed is a robust civic engagement in the arts toolkit. And you can see that I've used the Canva template and simply modified it to meet our needs of all of the content we wanted to include in our toolkit. One live link that we've included is a click to the BPS Office of Engagement Community Asset Map, which is really neat because you can find so many community resources around your school just by clicking on the link. A great thing about Canva is that it can be used on any device, including student Chromebooks. And that means you and your students can access it both at school and at home. Canva is a powerful design tool for the arts, but is also for everyone in the BPS community because it allows users to let their creativity take form easily. I hope you will give Canva a try yourself and with your students. Thanks so much for watching, and please like and subscribe for more technology tips.